I liked Shen Yanbo and chased after him from the classroom to the playground, from senior year through college. Later, he applied to study abroad just to avoid me. A one-way ticket costs what my mom would make running her market stall for a whole year. I couldn't chase anymore, so I stopped. That day I stood outside the airport for a while, watching the plane overhead disappear into a white line. I thought that was the end. People from different worlds shouldn't meet again. But fate had other plans. 5 years later, at a friend's wedding, I had a few too many drinks. When I opened my eyes, Shen Yanbo was sleeping next to me. It was past 4 a.m. Pale streetlight came through the curtain gap, lighting up the big bed. The moment I woke up, I smelled an unfamiliar cold fragrance. An arm lay across my waist, burning hot. Shen Yanbo was shirtless, red scratch marks from his collarbone to his chest. He stirred awake, half sitting up with a hoarse voice. It's still early. Go back to sleep. My throat tightened like it was stuffed with cotton. Why did this happen? He paused for a second, his eyes fully alert now, slowly sitting up as the blanket slid to his waist. You drank too much last night and wouldn't let go of me. Those words hit me like a slap in the face. Intense shame made me want to escape immediately. I bent down looking for my shoes but couldn't find them, so I just headed barefoot to the door. Shen Yanbo got out of bed and grabbed my wrist. Put your clothes on first. The floor's cold. I couldn't shake him off, turned and stared at him, saying slowly, Shen Yanbo, listen, just pretend last night never happened. I won't bother you either. I pried his fingers open and rushed out the door. Around the corner, I leaned it against the wall dry heaving, but nothing came up. But his expression from just now flashed in my mind, gentle, yet heartbreaking. I wiped my face hard, crushing those feelings, not letting myself be delusional again. At the hospital, Mrs. Liu called my name several times. It wasn't until she patted my shoulder that I snapped back. Mom, what did you say? She looked worried. Are you feeling sick? You look so pale. I looked down at my porridge and mumbled, working on a project. Hold an all-nighter. Xiaoxing, tell the doctor we're going home. I knew she was worried about money. The heart surgery and follow-up treatment had drained our savings, plus the daily pay for the daytime caregiver. I worked weekdays and took odd jobs on weekends. Barista, construction worker, tightening screws, carrying drinks. Whatever paid, I'd do it. When nothing was available, I'd deliver food. I stuffed the last bite of bun in my mouth. Mom, it's not your call. We listened to the doctor. You can't be cured. Just wasting money. Her voice dropped. Mom knows what's what. I smiled carelessly. Don't worry about money. Your son has ways. She sighed. Mom's been holding you back. I stared at her hair, gray before 50, my throat tightening. Mom, did you ever think your son was a burden back then? I rubbed her arm as I spoke, the forearm bruised from all the IVs. Try harder. Don't leave me alone. The doctor's rounds broke the heavy atmosphere. After the doctor left, the caregiver arrived. After giving instructions, I lied about working overtime and left the hospital. Saturday plus heavy rain meant the delivery app was swamped with orders. I grabbed an order for a villa area with a $200 tip alone. 1 second, I was thrilled about the order. Next second, I slipped and crashed into the puddle with my bike. I got up and checked the bag first, making sure the food didn't spill, then rode off quickly. When I arrived, I realized the soup had spilled anyway. I wiped the container clean with napkins and kept apologizing to the customer. Seeing him turn away cursing, I forced myself to speak up. Sir, about the tip. Huh? You crashed it and still want a tip? He cut me off. Are you crazy for money? I knew I was in the wrong, but still pushed. Even 100 would work. No way. Keep talking and I'm calling security. The front desk rushed over to meet it, pushing me toward the door. What's going on? A familiar voice came from behind. I froze completely, blood turning cold, numb all over. Mr. Shen, this delivery guy. Maybe the rain outside was too loud. So loud I could only hear my heartbeat. Look up, Shen Yanbo repeated, his voice very low. I slowly raised my head, inch by inch meeting his gaze. He stared at my uniform. His face looked worse than the weather outside. Why are you doing this job? Didn't finish college. Hearing we knew each other, the customer quickly pulled out 2 bills, smiling as he handed them over. I stared at those 2 red bills, fingers frozen in midair, but still reached out to take them. I thanked him hoarsely and walked toward the revolving door. Before I could step into the rain, he pulled me back. Answer me, why are you doing this job? I looked down at my soaked, ruined shoes. What's wrong with delivery? Does it offend you, young Master Shen? That's not what I meant. You have an order about to expire. The mechanical female voice suddenly blared between us. I looked up and smiled at him. Hear that? My next order's about to be late. Can you let me go? I yanked my hand away, but accidentally tore the skin. That's when I noticed my palm was cut somehow. It didn't hurt then, but now the pain hit like a drill. Shen Yanbo saw it too. I'll take you to the hospital. His concern didn't warm me at all, just made me feel more humiliated. I stepped back. Stop following me. Please. I turned and ran into the rain. This time he didn't follow. That night at the hospital, I got gauze from the nurses and wrapped it loosely. After Mrs. Liu fell asleep, I went downstairs alone. Light rain fell as I huddled in the pavilion, pulling out a crushed pack of cigarettes. The lighter clicked and I took a drag, shielding it. The harsh smoke hit my throat, nearly bringing tears. Shen Yanbo and I weren't in the same class. We had no connection originally. After my night shift, 4 or 5 guys cornered me in a dark alley. Just because some girl talked to me a bit more, they wanted to teach me a lesson. No cameras in the alley. Perfect spot to beat me up. I don't start trouble, but I don't back down. They hit me, I hit back. But I was outnumbered and quickly ran out of steam. Couldn't fight or run. Got kicked down into the rainwater. Just when I was about to take the beating, someone shouted from the alley end, "Cops are coming!" Not loud, but enough to scare them. The guys beating me vanished instantly. The guy held an umbrella, wearing white sportswear, completely out of place in that environment. He reached out to me. "Can you get up?" My stubborn streak kicked in. I tried to stand using the wall, but I slipped and sat back in the water, splashing everywhere. He laughed, his eyes bright under the streetlight, blindingly beautiful. I started asking around school about his schedule, reserving courts early at the basketball court, staking out the cafeteria. I even knew which day he went to the library. With his silent permission, getting close felt justified. Later I learned he could draw. I shamelessly begged him to draw me. Light from the window fell on the young man holding the brush. The young man's gaze was on me. When he looked at me, it felt like feathers brushing my heart, unexpectedly ticklish. Too bad he had something come up, and the drawing never got finished. Pride kept me from ever telling him about my family situation. I said I might not continue after high school. He didn't ask why, just said, "Want to go to the same college as me?" He said with college and a good job later, you could give your family a better life. He wasn't just talking. He started supervising my studies, helped me make study plans, analyzed wrong answers. I was slowly getting better. Some were happy, others jealous. People said I was Shen Yanbo's lapdog, that I stuck to him because his family had money. I fought that person. Things got big school-wide disciplinary notice. That night, walking back to the dorm with Shen Yanbo, his silence scared me. Teenage pride kept me from explaining. But I was afraid he'd think I was that kind of person like everyone else. When we reached the dorm, he suddenly turned around. "I know you're not that kind of person," his voice lowering. I'm angry that you shouldn't have fought him, especially at school. Weren't you worried about affecting your college prospect?" I saw not just reproach on his face, but also heartache. That night, Shen Yanbo planted a seed in my heart. It secretly sprouted, taking root throughout my body, wrapping around bones and blood, growing wild into a forest. Later, I got into Shen Yanbo's university. The campus was huge, but I still ran to his classroom 3 times a day. His classmates teased him. "Your little wife's here for you." Again, he never denied it. I took that as permission and got bolder. One day, I carefully folded that thin piece of paper and slipped it into a book. I returned to him, waiting for his reply, but the reply never came. Instead, Shen Yanbo grew distant. On a big campus, finding someone who's avoiding you is really hard. Finally, I cornered him after class. "Bro, why didn't you write back?" "Write back what?" "The one in the book. Didn't you see it?" I saw it. His tone was too calm. So calm that I started doubting what I'd been sure of. "But you like me too, right?" He looked up at me, his gaze resting on my face. Just a few seconds, but it felt like a century. The silence was hard, stopping before he spoke. "Never." Hearing those words, the light in my eyes dimmed instantly. My throat so tight I couldn't breathe. "Never." My voice shook with a crying tone. "Then why were you good to me?" He looked away. "I'm good to everyone." Shit, I like them all. I couldn't listen anymore and shoved him against the wall, pressing forward hard. My first kiss happened like that, without the sweetness I'd imagined, only bitter cruelty mixed with the taste of blood. News of this spread through the entire campus like wildfire. The advisor called me into his office. "Who do you think you are? What gives you the right to trade your future for this drama?" I didn't learn my lesson. Searching everywhere for Shen Yanbo, but never found him. Phone off, empty dorm room. Until I saw an exchange student list at the registrar's office with Shen Yanbo's name on it. The day he left, I ran to the airport, but never got to see him. One last time, the butler coming out said, "You're not from the same class. Stop pestering." Classmates had said this, teachers too. Back then I scoffed at it. I believed love could conquer all, could cross class lines. Later, working odd jobs, I learned that just entering an upscale neighborhood required passing through layers of security. Gradually, I watched through a small window as planes passed overhead, no longer stirring any waves in me. Then mom got sick, crushing hospital bills, making it hard to breathe. Busy life made me forget I'd ever loved someone that much. The cigarette burned my fingertip. My phone got a text from an unknown number. "Are you having some kind of trouble?" I stared at those words, my eyes suddenly stinging, looking up at the hospital windows lit like squares. I turned and stubbed out the cigarette on the trash can, walking toward the elevators. What I didn't know was that my phone lit up again. Nothing happened that night. Don't worry, but it quickly got buried in spam messages. These past few days, Mrs. Liu's spirits have been getting better. More and more smiles on her face. Just when I thought everything was heading in a good direction, I got a call from the caregiver at work. "Xiao Xing, get to the hospital quick. Your mom's having trouble breathing." Before she finished, I asked for leave and rushed to the hospital. The doctor rushed by shock. Emergency surgery. Go pay on the first floor first. My head buzzed as the nurse pushed me aside. The operating table was wheeled down the hallway, wheels clicking against the floor tiles. I started calling everyone I could think of. Xingqian, your sister-in-law just gave birth. We're tight on formula money. I really can't swing it this time. I contacted everyone I could reach. But everyone's just regular people with their own struggles. The nurse kept pushing. Any longer, and she won't make it to the operating room. I saw Mrs. Liu lying in the hallway. Her face ashen, the oxygen mask fogging up with each breath. In that moment, I felt despair like never before. I hated my own helplessness. Finally, I dialed the number again. Hello, can you lend me some money? 2 seconds of silence. Then send me your account number. My eyes instantly welled up, but I didn't have time to swallow my tears. I grabbed the forms and rushed to the payment window. The clock in the surgical ward moved incredibly slowly. A hospital aide came by and handed me 2 buns. You gotta eat even if you're not hungry. If you collapse, who's gonna take care of your mom? I took the food and started wolfing it down. All I could think about was Mrs. Liu. She kicked out all those people who told her to dump me back in the countryside and start a new family while she was still young. She'd go to the greenhouse at 3 or 4 in the morning to get vegetables and haul them to the market. She always said with a smile that things would get better. She said I'd definitely make something of myself and give her a good life. Now she was lying in that cold operating room. 6 hours and 37 minutes later, the red light went off. The doctor came out and removed his mask. The patient is out of danger for now. We'll observe for a few days. If all goes well, she can move to a regular room. My knees gave out, and I slid down the wall to the floor. Only then did I dare to cry out loud. The medical staff kept telling me to go home, take a shower, get some rest. There's nothing you can do here. We'll call you immediately if anything happens. I shook my head, my throat dry. Doctor, just let me wait here. Just as I finished speaking, my phone started buzzing in my jacket pocket. I walked to the end of the hallway to answer. Hello, I'm Mr. Shen's assistant. Please get ready. Come to Mr. Shen's house at 7 tonight. I'll send you the address. It took me a few seconds to remember who Mr. Shen was. As for what to prepare, it was obvious. I mechanically returned to my rental place. In the bathroom, hot water poured over my head. My sobs were drowned out by the shower. I couldn't tell if it was water or tears on my face. I dried off and put on clean clothes. Took a cab straight to the address on my phone. Through the car window, I saw the moon hanging at the edge of the city. At 18, that boy had tried so hard to reach that light. Now, I slowly rolled up the window, blocking out the moonlight. I personally cast a shadow over that pure moonlight. I put a price tag of 500,000 on that boy's most precious lot, selling it in the cheapest way possible. The assistant let me in. Before leaving, he said the stuff was in the living room, told me to get ready. I kept my head down, my ears burning red, my fingers on the buttons, shaking uncontrollably. Then I laughed at myself. I'm already here. What's the point of being shy? I was shirtless, pants down to my ankles. My hand was on my underwear, hesitating whether to continue. Shen Yanji appeared at the study door, still holding documents, looking shocked. It's just making dinner. Why are you stripping? He quickly turned around. Put your clothes back on. Don't catch cold. I frantically put my clothes back on, wanting to crawl into a hole. He turned back to look at me and laughed. What were you thinking? I felt embarrassed and angry. Wasn't planning to sleep with me. What's all that stuff in the bag? He glanced at the plastic bag, looking uncomfortable. Xiaowang got it wrong. He handed me a document folder. I opened it. The first page clearly read, a loan agreement. It listed Party A, Party B, loan period, and exact amount. Everything was crystal clear, except the repayment method was surprising. Party B must prepare meals as requested by Party A. Each meal counts as 10,000 toward the debt. I'm no Michelin chef. No meal I make is worth that much. This isn't fair to you. I should just pay you back. It's just that it might take a while. But fair or not is my call. His voice was soft, but his tone brooked no argument. Sign it. I knew Shen Yanbai didn't lack cooking staff, but my head was a mess right now. I couldn't think straight. I just wanted to finish this and get back to the hospital. Shen Yanji formally put the documents away and led me to the kitchen. I thought he'd want me to make some fancy meal. Turns out he just wanted 2 bowls of plain noodles. Seeing me sitting at the table in a daze, he said, when you finish eating, I'll drive you back to the hospital. I thought that contract was like a permanent meal ticket, but after that night, Shen Yanzi went silent. She asked me as usual if I was eating well, and reminded me to be safe when I go out. I nodded and I brought the water cup to her lips, to moisten her dry lips. She took a sip, and suddenly asked softly, has that boy come back? She didn't say who, but I knew. After senior year, all I talked about was Shen Yanbai. Every call in college, I'd still mention him. My mom would laugh and ask if he was really that great. I brought Shen Yanzi home to show her, asking, isn't he wonderful? Later I stopped mentioning him, and she stopped asking. Now she suddenly brought it up like a dull knife, cutting open the past we'd deliberately hidden. My throat tightened. I was about to change the subject when there was a knock at the door. I turned around. Shen Yanbai stood there in a suit, shoulders damp from rain, like he'd rushed here from some important event. In that second, my heart slammed against my ribs, and bounced back hard. Xiao Shen! Mrs. Lu called out first, joy overflowing. He nodded and said, Auntie. Shen Yanbai stayed at the hospital all afternoon. He didn't leave until dark. The hallway lights stretched our shadows long. He said he'd been busy lately. Just got back from a business trip. He also said he'd spoken to people here. Don't worry about anything. I nodded, my throat dry. Shen Yanbai, thank you. He looked at me for a few seconds, then sighed softly. Anything else? That's when I noticed his eyes were bloodshot. Having rushed from the airport, his suit collar was still damp. That dampness seeped straight into my heart, making my throat burn. Go home and get some rest. He paused for half a second, the corner of his mouth barely curving up. Yeah, go back and stay with Auntie. After that, Shen Yanbai made time to visit the hospital every day. He chat with my mom for a while. Then hurry off. My mom was awake for shorter and shorter periods each day. That day the sunshine was almost cruelly bright. She called Shen Yanbai to her bedside. Her thin fingers grabbed his hand and said, Auntie has a favor to ask. You don't need to do anything for him. Just when this boy can't hold on anymore, give him a hand. Shen Yanbai's eyes immediately reddened. His Adam's apple bobbed twice before he hoarsely replied, Auntie, I'll take good care of him. Thank you. Mrs. Lu closed her eyes, tears sliding into her graying hair. She turned to me, her voice light as a breeze. Xiaoxing, let mommy go. Your father came to get me. My knees gave out, and I fell beside the bed. A sob escaped my throat. I couldn't make any sound. I could only press my forehead against her still, warm hand. Shen Yanbai helped me arrange my mom's funeral. I didn't refuse. On my own. I didn't have the energy to give her a proper send-off. When my mom was in the hospital, I was like a puppet controlled by life strings. Now that string was cut, and I collapsed too. The pickled vegetables in the fridge, the orchids on the balcony, everywhere still held traces of her presence. I lay on the wicker chair where she used to rest. I'd lie there all day. Until Shen Yanbai called. Are you trying to break our contract? I dragged myself up, and took an hour-and-a-half bus ride to his place. Walking in, the aroma of food hit me. He said since I was late, he had the housekeeper cook. Told me to sit down and finish eating with him. He said, you better not leave. If you leave, I'll tell on you to Auntie. Her son doesn't keep his word. So it changed from me cooking for him to eating meals together. No fixed time or place. I knew that calling it contract fulfillment was really just him pulling you forward, step by step, including lending money before, helping mom transfer rooms, handling the funeral. Everything. But I don't understand why this guy never learns. Isn't he afraid I'll misunderstand again and cling to him? But I never asked him about any of this, because some things, once said, would just make us both uncomfortable. I'm very grateful to him. It's just that this gratitude will never become a burden on him in the name of love. Time flew by. Soon it was the last meal of our contract. Shen Yanbai seemed strange today. Not his usual composed self. He said, Xiaoxing, after tonight, you won't owe me anything. I didn't respond, because I'd already decided to pay back every penny I owed him. He asked if I could go see something with him. What? You'll know when you see it. I followed him upstairs, full of doubt. The moment the door unlocked, the room was pitch black. With a click, the lights came on row by row. On the floor, tables, walls, paintings everywhere burst into view. Every painting showed the same face. My eyes were drawn to the most prominent painting in the center. An 18-year-old boy with a shy smile, but eyes so intense, they could burn through the paper. My ears rang as I unconsciously stepped back, until I hit the doorframe and barely steadied myself. I looked at Shen Yanbai and asked shakily, Why? Why do you have these paintings? Is it because you liked me? But if you liked me, why did you reject me? And if you rejected me, why are you showing me this now? Shen Yanbai didn't come closer. He stood just one step away, like a child who'd done wrong, waiting for judgment. Let me explain first, okay? He took a deep breath, his voice rough, eyes full of sorrow. Remember that love letter? The first person to open it wasn't me. It was my dad. It turned out Shen Yanzi's father flew into a rage after finding the letter. He forbade Shen Yanbai from having any contact with me. Shen Yanbai tried reasoning with him, tried every way to resist. Then, a photo of my mom selling vegetables at the market was thrown at Shen Yanbai, making him face reality instantly. A young man without power has only courage, and courage against overwhelming force is useless. He couldn't protect me or my family. Shen Yanbai finally promised not to contact me anymore. He didn't dare tell me the truth. He was afraid of shattering my fragile pride. He was afraid I'd do something irreversible in anger. He thought maybe after some time, his father might come around. But fate didn't give him time. After that kiss, his father was completely enraged, and was determined to get me expelled. Giving up the prestigious university I worked so hard to get into. For a family like mine, that meant everything. Shen Yanbai knew it, and his father knew it too. His father gave him two choices. His father promised not to bother me anymore. He chose the latter. After that, he was confined at home, until the day he left for abroad. After hearing all this, my chest felt stuffed with waterlogged cotton. I gasped desperately, but only sucked in stifling. I see. So that's how it was. A love between families of different social status faced strong opposition from his family. Cliché, yet very real. I asked hoarsely, "What about now? Does he agree?" Shen Yanbai lowered his eyes. After a long while, he spoke. Now I don't need his agreement anymore. After going abroad, Shen Yanbai had only one thought, to become stronger. Strong enough to never be controlled by others, strong enough to protect everything. He did it. In just a few years, he forced himself to grow rapidly, doing everything he to expand his business empire, enough to rival his father. I just never expected that life had worn me down to this state. I always wanted to be honest with you, but I was always one step too late. I originally planned to tell you after your mom got out of the hospital, but I never expected that to happen. Later when you needed to borrow money, I knew you'd agree if I just asked, but I didn't want you to feel forced to say yes. He stepped forward, without touching me, he just lowered his voice even more, showing you these things. He's just to tell you that your feelings were never one-sided. After Shen Yanbai finished speaking, a long silence stretched between them. I took a deep breath, my eyes burning, feeling so miserable I wanted to curse. Fate had played me like a fool, yet returned Shen Yanbai to me completely unchanged. But after all these years, I was no longer that reckless teenager who knew no limits. And I could no longer love someone so fearlessly. I lowered my head and rubbed my face, my palms wet with tears. Those tears seemed to well up from the depths of my heart, carrying an indescribable bitterness and helplessness. Later, Shen Yanbai asked me if I was willing to give each other another chance. After that, Shen Yanbai disappeared for a while. He reappeared the day before New Year's holiday. Coming out of the office building, I saw him from afar and froze for a moment. When he saw me come out, his intimidating aura instantly vanished, and he walked toward me with a smile. I stopped and looked at him. "Are you here on business?" He shook his head. "Do you have time for dinner tonight?" I saw his eyes full of hope, and I couldn't bear to refuse him like this. The car drove all the way out of the city center, and I was full of doubt, until I saw the familiar high school gate. He had driven halfway across the city, just to bring me back to that old street. I had already guessed where he was taking me. But when we actually arrived at the entrance, I felt strangely nervous about returning home. I can't believe after all these years, this little restaurant is still here. This was where I first took Shen Yanbai out to eat. That night after he helped me out in the alley, I wanted to treat him to dinner, but I was broke, so I could only choose this little place. But I lied and said it was the most famous restaurant in the city. The owner had a good memory and naturally struck up a conversation when she saw us, saying how quickly time passes. She smiled and teased, "You brought your friend here for dinner again." I awkwardly turned the cup in my hands, not knowing how to respond. But Shen Yanbai naturally started chatting with her. The owner said this street was being renovated. All the shops on both sides would be demolished, and we came at just the right time. For a moment, it felt like nothing had changed. Only the person who kept talking had changed from me to him. The students were on winter break and the school was locked up, so we drove straight back to the city after dinner. The car smoothly stopped in front of my building. "Drive safe." I was about to get out when my left wrist was grabbed. His voice was extremely low. My dad agreed. I whipped around. "Did you have a falling out with your family?" What I feared most was Shen Yanbai, standing against his family, because of me. "I want you to know." He loosened his grip, but didn't let go. "Protecting you isn't just words. I brought you back today to tell you. I've been waiting for you in the same place, as long as you turn around." I opened my mouth, my throat dry and painful, my knuckles white from clenching. But I couldn't say anything. After he finished speaking, he leaned over and clicked open my seatbelt. "All right, go rest well." That crisp sound exploded in my ears. My spine stiffened. My breathing became completely erratic. Much later, when I thought back to that night, I couldn't remember how I opened the car door, or how I mechanically climbed the stairs floor by floor. I only remember that after getting home, I walked to the window, and under the moonlight, that car was still parked there, with the door half open, Shen Yanbai leaning against the car, a red glow flickering at his fingertips. Later, Shen Yanbai quietly seeped into every corner of my life like gentle rain. Sometimes bringing snacks I liked, or showing up outside the office on rainy days. Until near New Year's, probably because he got busier with social events, he stopped appearing. Before I knew it, it was New Year's Eve, snow falling outside the window. The whole city immersed in New Year's joy. The TV showed family reunions, while outside the TV, I was all alone. The New Year's gala songs and dances were still lively, and even the most boring shows could keep someone glued to the couch from start to finish. A buzz, the sound of my phone vibrating, came from the table. I glanced at the caller ID. My finger pressed the answer button before my brain could react. His voice came through mixed with static. "Happy New Year." That voice fell into my heart across the distance, making it tighten unexpectedly. I walked to the window with my phone, and pulled open the curtains with a swoosh. In the snowy scene under the streetlight, Shen Yanbai was indeed standing there, his shoulders covered with a layer of white. He looked up and met my eyes across the distance. I didn't have time to put on socks and ran outside in slippers. 5th floor, 4th floor, 3rd floor. Before I even steadied myself on the last step, I was already pushing open the glass door. Shen Yanbai turned around at the sound and looked directly into my eyes. In that moment, all hesitation and fear were instantly drained away. I rushed over in a few steps and threw myself straight into his arms. Shen Yanbai staggered slightly and hugged me tight. I buried my face in his chest and suddenly couldn't hold it together anymore. Shen Yanbai froze for half a second, then placed his palm on my back, stroking it gently, and finally asked softly, "Are you cold?" I shook my head, tears flowing more as I wiped them. completely losing my composure. He simply opened his coat and wrapped me inside, his chin resting on top of my head, his voice also becoming hoarse. I'm here. I don't know how long I cried, the sound of firecrackers gradually fading. I sniffled and looked up at him. I stood on my tiptoes, trembling my lashes as I slowly leaned closer. The moment our breaths mingled, I could hear my heart pounding like drums. And this time, Shen Yanbai didn't push me away. He only paused for a second, then raised his hand to cup the back of my neck and deepen the kiss. Shen Yanbai came upstairs with me, and he opened the box he brought. I brought you some food. It should still be warm. 6 steaming hot dishes were neatly arranged in the containers: braised pork meatballs, spicy water bamboo, braised prawns, steamed sea bass, and golden spring rolls. There were also 2 boxes of dumplings below. My throat moved and my stomach rumbled. Shen Yanbai said, "Quick, eat while it's hot." I got up and walked to the cabinet, pulled out a bottle of liquor, shook it. "Can you have a drink with me?" Just like that, the 2 of us went from me having 1 cup, Shen Yanbai having 1 cup, to gradually becoming me having 1 cup, then me having another cup, until I passed out. When I opened my eyes again, it was noon the next day. I felt around for my phone with my eyes closed. It was already noon, and my phone showed "Send Qi unread messages." When I opened them, the top profile picture was Shen Yanbai's. When did I remove him from my blocked list? I had no memory of it at all. The first voice message was only eating seconds. "Do you still blame me?" My own voice had a heavy nasal tone. "I blamed you long ago." The second one automatically played next. "Do you still love me?" In the voice message, I was crying so hard I could barely breathe. Then after 2 seconds I choked out 1 word. Yes. Over 10 consecutive green message bubbles. All my drunk rambling. Cursing Shen Yanbai, cursing his dad, and cursing my boss too. Occasionally mixed with his gentle coaxing. Okay, they're all bad. The last one ended with my muffled sobbing. "Don't go. Don't leave me alone." The voice message ended. The screen went still. As soon as the screen dimmed, Shen Yanbai knocked and came in. Seeing me curled up under the covers like an ostrich, he asked gently, "Did you listen to the recordings?" I nodded very lightly. Since you listened to them, you can't go back on your word." I took a deep breath, then got out of bed and took out a bank card from the cabinet, handing it to him. "This is my year-end bonus plus what I earned recently. 42001total. The password is your birthday." Shen Yanbai looked down, his fingertip gently rubbing the card surface, saying nothing. Afraid he might refuse, I said, "The rest of the money, I'll transfer it to you next month. You have to take it." He raised an eyebrow slightly. "What if I don't? Then you'd be going back on your word." I looked up at him. "It's not going back on my word. I want to be with you again with a clean slate, because Ji Xingchen's love never contains any impurities." The air was quiet for 2 seconds. He sighed and put the card away. "Then let's add interest." I was stunned. "You want to charge interest?" He leaned down and pressed me back onto the bed, his lips coming closer, his voice muffled. Having second thoughts. After getting together with Shen Yanbai, I became busier and busier, because I wanted to stand beside him. I couldn't be too far behind. In half a year, I used every available resource to improve my abilities. Working during the day, studying cases and projects at night, until my eyes were sore, and when I couldn't understand something, I'd pester Shen Yanbai, but he always charged interest. Fortunately, the hard work paid off. Last week I was appointed as branch manager, and the first thing was to attract investment. I glued myself to the office, working non-stop for 3 days. On the 4th afternoon, my assistant poked her head in. "Manager Ji, someone's here to see you in the lobby." I got up and walked toward the elevator. Behind me were the girls' chatter. It wasn't that they loved to gossip, it's just that every time Shen Yanbai came, he'd hint that he was here to see his boyfriend. I rubbed my temples as I went downstairs and saw Shen Yanbai from far away. When he saw me, he quickly walked over. "I came to bring you clothes." "I'm not cold," I said helplessly. "Besides, you're a big CEO. How do you have so much time?" "I don't. So I'll have to work late again tonight." He smiled. "By the way, are you free tonight?" "No," I answered decisively. "Tomorrow?" At the hospital, Mrs. Liu called me many times. Shen Yanbai sighed. "That's too bad. There's a business gathering tomorrow. I was going to take you. Since Manager Ji doesn't have time, I guess I'll go alone." I stopped in my tracks and turned back to reach out to him. "I'm free. When CEO Shen invites, I must be available." Late at night, I pushed to the person on top of me. "Let's sleep early. We have business tomorrow." Shen Yanbai grabbed my hands and held them above my head, his voice hoarse. Let's take care of tonight's business first." Shen Yanbai brought me along, introducing me to those people all evening. I knew clearly that they smiled at me, because they were doing Shen Yanbai a favor. After a few rounds of small talk, he leaned close to my ear. "I have something to handle. I'll be right back." I nodded, turned to get a glass of champagne, and before I could take a sip, I saw Shen's father walking over from the staircase. "Good evening, Mr. Shen." I nodded slightly, speaking first. He stopped in front of me, his gaze scrutinizing. "Do you know why I agreed to let you two be together?" "I can probably guess. Because you love your son." He snorted lightly, his tone indifferent. "That boy comes home, praising how wonderful you are, while using company matters to negotiate with me and play tricks, acting like a complete businessman." I was stunned for a moment. Although I already knew Shen Yanbai had quietly done a lot, warmth still surged in my heart. "Or Mr. Shen." I put down my glass, my voice softening. "Actually, your approval doesn't matter much to me personally, but it's very important to Shen Yanbai." As soon as I finished speaking, Shen Yanbai hurried back and stepped in front of me. That don't make things difficult for him. His father rolled his eyes at him, then looked at me. "You still haven't formally visited us at home. Young people these days have no manners." Shen Yanbai frowned. "Don't take what he says to heart. If you don't want to go, Then don't. Later on, I started my own company. While I couldn't compare to Shen Yanbai, it was already quite good in this city. On opening day, I had a lot to drink. I held onto him tightly. Bro, am I really good now? Shen Yanbai tenderly kissed my forehead, his fingertip gently wiping away the moisture at the corner of my eyes. Jie Xingchen, you've always been excellent, always brilliant. I stood on my tiptoes and pressed my forehead against his shoulder, suddenly understanding. The moon quietly climbs over the hill, its protection, its companionship all along the way. The stars in the sky aren't anyone's backdrop either.